Hey, Steve Riley, welcome to this episode of Great Practice, Great Life. And today we're featuring board certified trial lawyer, an attorney who's built a fantastic plaintiff's practice, Doug Burnetti. So, Doug, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Steve.
Oh, it's our pleasure. It's great to have you here today. For people who don't know you, could you describe a little bit about your practice and where you're at and how your firm works, just so they have a sense? Because we have all kinds of different practitioners that listen to this show.
Sure. We're primarily located in Central Florida, although we cover the entire state. Actually, we have cases out of the state also, but primarily Florida. But our offices are all within Central Florida. We have 8 offices now, I think it is, with our 2 largest offices in Tampa and Lakeland, but several offices from Sarasota all the way up to North Pinellas County.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And you've got a great reputation and you've grown quite a, fabulous practice. So I'd like to talk to you just for a few minutes about, from your perspective, as you look back and you think about the success that you've had in the firm, and I know there's some challenges. What do you think the 3 biggest challenges were for you to grow your practice the way that you have?
Right. Well, you have to remember, we started in 1994. It was just me and one secretary. The challenges then, I think, were different than the challenges would be if you were starting today. Back then, there was a lot of anti-advertising sentiment. So the legal community, when I first started, and I started advertising right away because that was the only way I knew how to get cases. There was a lot of pushback, a lot of negativity. Now it's kind of the opposite. There is so much competition. So I would say right now, if I was walking out and starting a brand new practice, me as a new lawyer, the biggest challenge is competition. And how do I break into the market of personal injury, which is what our firm does, is 100% personal injury type of work. So that's what I would say is the biggest challenge. Probably the second biggest challenge is something that is very new to all of us since COVID. And I kind of smile because it's become a topic of discussion with my management team at least twice a week. And that is trying to get talent, whether it be a support staff or a lawyer. I mean, right now it's just very difficult to hire the talent to keep up with the growth. So that's a big one right now. That's one we didn't really experience pre-COVID. The third, I would say, there's a lot of challenges, but the third one would probably be technology. Technology is changing so rapidly that either you keep up or you get left behind. Our firm is being very fortunate that we're kind of on the leading edge of a lot of technology. In fact, we just did some beta testing for one of the programs that we work with. They chose us because we're into that kind of thing. So technology is a big one because if you're not paperless right now, it's difficult to practice. I was on the committee of this leadership group in Palm Beach. It was all about what we called servant leadership, meaning that you have to look within yourself. You have to lead by serving. In other words, you don't come in as a dictator and say, do this, do this. No, you have to do it with them. You have to show them that you're doing it, that you're changing, that you're moving in that direction. And I think that goes back to Kotter. That's really what he was saying, is that we need to be servant leaders. We're not dictators. So that's how I've done it since then. Is that I believe in servant leadership, and a big part of that is caring. Okay, empathy. Now I'm starting to talk about the things that I get really passionate about. Uh, you have, I feel like we as leaders have to be empathetic to the people that you're working with. And I'm not saying, that you feel sorry for them and you coddle them. That's not what I'm talking about. You have to look at it from their perspective, the job they're doing, look at it from their perspective and provide them the tools, provide them the training to do it right. Um, Sitting back and getting orders and saying, follow this policy and procedure, follow that policy and procedure. That's a little part of it, but you have to do it as a servant leader where you're doing the exact same thing. You can't just preach to them. You have to be with them. That's my opinion.
But it's great stuff. I mean, it's really great stuff. I know a lot of young lawyers that when they come into our community and they want to grow their plaintiff's firm or any firm, quite frankly, they're like, well, if people would just do what I say, or maybe I need to have greater systems. I need to have greater process. So can you think of an example where you use something out of the book in your marriage or and with the kids or in your personal life?
Well, I mean, uh, uh, I just do it now. I think I just do it automatically because I've read the book so many times. I mean, I'm kind to them. I think about things from their perspective, but I do that with almost everybody. I do that especially with staff and clients. Um, I call it empathy. Empathy is huge. That's where you were asking me earlier what I talked with the admin team about empathy, customer service. What makes great customer service? Empathy. I mean, those things, and you can glean all that from that book, and it all fits perfectly. It fits together, and it makes life better, business better.
It's such a simple and wonderful book. My father is 91, has early stage dementia, and will still reference things that he learned from that Dale Carnegie course like 40 years ago. It's really amazing. It's really amazing how much that book shifted. A couple of different books that Dale Carnegie wrote and shifted his whole, it shifted the path of his career. It's really
But
incredible.
changed my life, changed my perspective.
What would be the most important time management or focus management advice you'd give them?
That's funny because I had this conversation with a young lawyer the other day. You got to have some balance. When I first started working before opening Burnetti PA, I worked for a litigation firm, and they required, I don't know, we would work 60 hours a week plus, which was too much. It was wrong. Looking back, that was just wrong for my family. Now it's different when we're in trial. When you're in trial, you're working, you don't stop working. So that's a different story. But as simple trial lawyers, we're only in trial. Maybe you're lucky if you're in trial 3 or 4 times a year. So I would say that they need to have some balance in the beginning. They probably do need to work more, but as your career moves on, that needs to change. It changed a lot for me about 10 years ago. In fact, at this point, I only come into the office 3 days a week. I work from home 1 day a week, and then I try not to work 3 days a week. I've got one lawyer. I know he probably works 4 days a week. And let me preface all this with, now with phones, we can work all the time, right? So like on the days I'm off, sure, I'm going to check my email here and there. I'm going to still call if I need to, but it's just different. It's at a different pace. It frees up my mind more. Last month, I was in Africa for 3 weeks. So you got to do this thing. There's more to life than just, working as a lawyer. In fact, I don't even like to call myself a lawyer. I just say I practice law because I don't want to identify with that's what I am. I'm also a dad, a grandfather, a lot of other things. So I think you get to just what I'm saying. There's more to life. You can be a happy, good lawyer, but not work 60 hours. That's what I'm saying.